That's not what that door is for, my dear. What are you doing? That's not what that door is supposed to be for. Today is a day we're working in the barn. As you can see, Sid and Smokey have gotten out again. We need to find where they're getting out so we can fix it. But my biggest concern is this area. And the reason for that is because we are getting 10 bales of hay. Stop fighting, girls. They're definitely hormonal. I don't know if you can see them. They are so hormonal right now. But we are getting 10 bales of hay. So I need to clear this section out so I can get it in there. And then I am also going to be building some like hay mangers. Don't try to come out. I'm going to be building some hay mangers to put the hay into, both in the girls and the boys. So that way they have constant supply of hay. We're going to see how much this 10 bales gets us, like how long it will get us, so we can then determine how much we're going to need in the future. So that is my chore right now. The boys, they're just going to hang out with me out here until we can figure out where their hole is, because otherwise they'll just keep getting out. But the boys are actually really good. They don't go much farther past my vegetable garden, and they don't go much farther past than where like our pool is out there. So they're really good. And then if I call them, they come, because they were actually up by my garden and I just said, Sid, Smokey, and they followed me down here. So that's what we're gonna do though, is we're gonna get working on clearing this area out. Let's go. dark, like Sid.
That's insulation you're eating, dork. Can you imagine that being good for your stomach?
Peekaboo. I am not going to deny, I completely forgot to film today. My mom came over and she was helping me try to get somewhat caught up on weeding this garden so that I could be ready for the next thing. So I wanted to just kind of show you guys a couple of things. First off, the lettuce down here, that's starting to bolt. There's still a couple, there's like 3 or 4 of the lettuces that are still good, but 3 of them are at least bolting, which I don't mind because I'm going to save the seeds. Our tomatoes like blew up. So these ones, I have to actually tie them all up again. So I'm probably going to do that tomorrow. But they are starting to get a ton. Over here on this side, this is a kind, it's a Barry's Crazy Cherry Tomato. And if you can see all of these flowers, let me show you one second. So if you can see all of these right here, these little flowers are going to turn into tomatoes. Barry's Crazy Cherry Tomato. So Barry's Crazy Cherry Tomato actually gets like 20 to 40 little cherry tomatoes on each stem. So, and they're really good. So I'm super excited about that. We do have some other tomatoes coming in over here as well. This one, if you can't tell, it's starting to kind of knock over again. So I do need to get that one propped up. But it's really getting exciting here. We have, these are some more tomatoes. I want to say, I believe there's San Marzano in these here. No, they're not. I'll have to double check, but I think it's Castelluto, Florentino, and a couple of others. So there's a ton there. These blew up about a week ago. They were only about this tall, and look at a good extra, like almost 2 feet on all of them. So I actually have to tie them up again. Over here, these we propped up last week, so they're still kind of catching up. But they're getting heavy with tomatoes. And then down here, we have our ground cherries, which this is the first year I've grown them and I'm trying them. I've never had these before, and so I wanted to try them, but you have to actually wait till they fall off the plant onto the ground, which is why they're called ground cherries. So that's really excited. I'm super excited to try those because I've heard they taste, I can't remember. I'll tell you what they taste like when we have some. But our peppers are doing fantastic. They were getting choked out really bad from weeds. And the weeds weren't actually in the garden bed so much because I did have it weeded pretty good. But all of these white flowers here on the plants, the little flowers, are new from the last like few days. So that's really exciting because that means they're doing really well. So this garden bed, the kids actually mulched as well. For me up here, I forgot to show this with the lettuce. So if you can't see, these ones right here, these lettuce, those are starting to bolt. So they're kind of bitter. So I'm just going to let them continue going and save the seeds from them. But here are our Count Dracula peppers. And these are doing fantastic with the exception of some weeds trying to get in there. But they are doing so good and they look so good. And you may think they look black. They're supposed to be black. They have very little to no green on them. They're supposed to look that way. But my mom actually came over and she helped me get these tomatoes and these tomatoes propped up. And these are looking really good. They're still struggling a little bit because they were struggling prior. So those, I mean, they'll catch up and everything, but they look really good. They've got tons of flowers. They're going to give us a lot. Our pumpkins here are doing really well. As you can tell, I still have to weed more. I have another week before I really need this garden super cleaned out. So I'm going to be working on that. So I'll be getting that cleared out, ready to go for them. The last bed that we have to worry about in regards to any sort of like supports is this bed. And this is my tomatillos and a couple of other tomatoes here. And so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to build kind of like a little cage using twine around them because tomatoes like to kind of spread out. Or tomatillos, not tomatoes. Tomatillos like to spread out. Now these ones are actually, fun fact, these are not a green tomatillo like I normally grow. Unfortunately, for some reason this year, mosquitoes. Some reason this year, my green tomatillos, my Verde Rio Grande, it's the Rio Grande tomatillo. They're a green Verde tomatillo. They did not survive. So all that is in this garden bed is purple tomatillos. So we're going to see how that works and how they go. And then buried in here is some more carrots. So right in this area, you'll see a plank right there. Next to it is carrots and more squash and a couple of pumpkins. That bed, as you can tell, clearly I need to weed it. I feel really bad, but I do. And then this is the last bed. This is my potato patch. And these are pretty much ready to start digging up. I'm going to let them go just a little bit longer. But this bed will actually extend all the way back. However, we didn't do that this year. One, because we have this tree here that needs to come down. But two, I just wanted to see how many potatoes we were going to need for our family. But back here as well, we have mint that's actually going to seed. So we'll get that transplanted down where we want the mint. But as you can see, slowly but surely, this garden is coming together. It's getting there. Now, like I said before, it's very difficult to do this garden this year because it was so neglected prior to us being here. And it's just going to be a constant battle for the next few years. But this year is going to be just getting some stuff growing, start working with the soil and everything. I'm going to be adding I'm going to actually be doing some raised beds in here instead, which I wouldn't normally do. Hello, Mr. Toad. I wouldn't normally do raised beds, but I'm going to do raised beds so I can kind of work with this and everything. And we'll figure out how much we can officially grow in this garden. And then mosquitoes flying right next to my ear. We'll see how much we can grow in this garden. And then we might start extending down the hill a little bit. But this year is kind of a test, a sample to see how far we can get into our self-sufficiency. So let's go.